Is Jungkook now at a crisis point that could change his career forever? Recently, a shocking statement from Calvin Klein shook the K-pop world. HYBE, which usually responds to rumors very cautiously, this time immediately took unprecedented action. What is really happening behind the scenes, and why is this a moment that could change BTS history? In this video, we will uncover the facts behind Calvin Klein's controversial statement about Jungkook, HYBE's quick reaction, and the impact that could affect the entire BTS fandom. Get ready, because some information we will discuss may shock ARMY, make them emotional, or even angry. But before we reveal everything, let's trace the chronology that brought us to this point. Everything began with the exclusive collaboration between Jungkook and Calvin Klein, announced several months ago. This young model and singer has long been a global icon, and the agreement was initially seen as a strategic move to expand Calvin Klein's brand in Asia and globally. However, recently, Calvin Klein released an unexpected public statement. The statement specifically mentioned Jungkook and provided comments considered controversial by some regarding the artist's career and future. The sentences expressed in the official interview even raised serious questions. Does the brand see Jungkook merely as a promotional tool, or is there something bigger behind this collaboration? As the statement circulated, various speculations emerged among fans. International and local media began highlighting the tone that seemed to question HYBE's decisions. Netizens wondered, is this just a marketing strategy, or is there a more serious internal problem? HYBE, which usually handles sensitive issues very cautiously, this time reacted in a surprising way. Trusted sources said the label immediately held an emergency meeting and prepared an official statement to respond to Calvin Klein's statement. However, HYBE's statement content actually raised more questions than answers. Some fans called this move a dramatic action that shook the industry because it rarely happens in BTS history. But behind all of this, there is a fact rarely known to the public. An internal source from Calvin Klein revealed that the controversial statement was not a coincidence. There is even an indication that the brand deliberately chose the release timing, when ARMY's attention was focused on other BTS members' military activities. If true, this strategy could trigger a big debate. Is Jungkook being used as a promotional tool, or is there hidden pressure affecting his career? HYBE took an equally unexpected dramatic step. Instead of letting the rumors run wild, the label chose a direct approach, a special meeting with Jungkook, preparing a public strategy, and intensive communication with international media. Some insiders even called HYBE's move an industry-shaking action, because rarely does a label respond this fast. The big question arises, does Jungkook have full control over this collaboration, or is the actual decision in HYBE's hands? And what are the long-term impacts on Jungkook's image as a global artist? In the midst of all this, ARMY reacted very intensely. Social media was flooded with hashtags, comments, and conspiracy theories about Jungkook and BTS's future. Some supported HYBE's move, while others felt Jungkook was being trapped by industry pressure. Meanwhile, fashion industry experts highlighted the impact of Calvin Klein's statement. They called it an extreme marketing trick, yet risky for the artist's reputation. This sparked a big question. Is this collaboration benefiting Jungkook, or could it be a trap that affects his international career? Moreover, some fans even compared this situation to other global artists who were once trapped in similar controversies. Their analysis shows that the timing of Calvin Klein's statement is very strategic and likely not unrelated to a calculated global publicity plan. ARMY began guessing scenarios that could happen next. Is this just a marketing drama, or is there a more serious problem between the brand, the label, and the artist? And at this point, everything changes. A leaked exclusive interview reaffirmed Calvin Klein's view, which turned out to be harsher than before. The statement mentioned aspects of Jungkook's contract that had been kept secret, including copyright terms, photo shoot schedules, and international exposure. HYBE, monitoring the situation, made a dramatic decision, postponing several of Jungkook's international projects while renegotiating contract terms with Calvin Klein. This decision shocked ARMY and the entire K-pop industry because it is extremely rare for a label to act this quickly and dramatically. Some insiders said HYBE's decision could set a new precedent in the industry, showing that major labels are now ready to defend their global artists, even when facing pressure from international brands. For Jungkook, this is not just about a collaboration project, but also about image, creative control, and the future of his global career. Now the question is, what is the next move for Jungkook? Will this collaboration bring huge benefits, or will it become a challenge he has to face? How will ARMY react next, and will HYBE continue to stand behind Jungkook in this high-pressure situation? We want to hear your thoughts. Write in the comments below. Do you think Calvin Klein deliberately used this momentum, or was it just a misunderstanding? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next dramatic update about Jungkook and BTS that up to this point, the story is still evolving. One thing is certain, the K-pop world is now watching Jungkook with even greater curiosity than before. After tracing the entire chronology, statements, and reactions that occurred, one thing is clear. The story circulating publicly is not just ordinary rumor. However, it is important for viewers to understand the nuances behind the headlines and controversies trending on social media. The K-pop world is always full of dynamics, and when Jungkook's name was mentioned in Calvin Klein's controversial statement, everyone immediately paid extra attention. In fact, some of the information circulating is true, but there are also elements that have been exaggerated or misinterpreted. First, Jungkook's collaboration with Calvin Klein is real and represents one of the largest global brand partnerships ever undertaken by BTS. Official confirmation from both parties stated that the agreement included exclusive photo shoots, global campaigns, and certain copyright rights related to Jungkook's name and likeness. Therefore, nothing fabricated about this basic fact. Here lies the source of some fans' and media's misinterpretation. Certain brand statements were interpreted as controversial, when in reality, many were standard in the fashion industry, such as exclusivity clauses or international promotion schedules. Second, Calvin Klein's statements that sparked controversy were actually the brand's effort to assert its strategic position in the global market. Some phrases that were perceived as harsh did raise public questions about Jungkook's position, but when viewed professionally, they were standard communications for an international brand. Here, the gap between the emotional interpretations of ARMY and the more complex professional context becomes clear. Third, HYBE's quick and dramatic response is also evidence that the label did not want any misunderstanding to negatively impact its artist. The step to postpone some of Jungkook's international projects or renegotiate the contract with Calvin Klein does not indicate that Jungkook is in serious trouble, but is a risk management strategy to ensure all parties are satisfied and Jungkook's image remains intact. This also affirms that HYBE always prioritizes the welfare and creative control of its artists. Fourth, the public and ARMY impact cannot be underestimated. Social media, forums, and fan comments became arenas for rapid and intense discussions. Here is where news often transforms. Rumors can escalate into massive controversies within hours. The facts, which were initially simple, such as brand marketing statements, can be magnified into major drama, especially when involving an artist of Jungkook's caliber with millions of fans worldwide. Yet, amidst all the speculation, the core truth remains. There is no indication that Jungkook faces legal issues, problematic contracts, or extreme pressures that endanger his career. What happened is merely a combination of marketing strategy, public misinterpretation, and HYBE's rapid steps to ensure all parties remain on a safe path. In reality, Jungkook continues to focus on professional activities, and the collaboration with Calvin Klein remains on schedule. Additionally, this incident demonstrates the maturity of the K-pop industry and international brands in handling sensitive issues. Calvin Klein asserts its presence in the global market, HYBE protects its artist, and fans learn to balance emotion with facts. This controversy can be viewed as an important lesson. Viral news or sensational headlines do not necessarily reflect the full truth. Interpreting facts carefully becomes crucial, especially for ARMY who are highly emotional toward their idol. On the other hand, this story also opens opportunities to discuss the relationship between artists, labels, and international brands. Jungkook, as a public figure, still has rights to creative control and image, while HYBE acts as a risk manager. Calvin Klein leveraged global momentum, but HYBE's quick reaction shows that the label will always protect its artist from misinterpretation. This is a balance between branding, promotion, and artist protection rarely seen in other entertainment industries. Conclusion: the controversy that briefly shocked the public is not a disaster but a reflection of the global dynamics of the K-pop and fashion industries. The core facts: Jungkook's collaboration with Calvin Klein, the brand statement, and HYBE's response are all true, but excessive speculation made it seem more dramatic than reality. Jungkook remains safe. Projects continue, and ARMY has an important lesson in evaluating news. Stay critical, don't immediately believe rumors, and understand the professional context behind every statement. By understanding this truth, viewers can see that even though headlines are often dramatic and emotionally charged, the facts are clear. Jungkook is in a safe position, his career continues to shine, and his global collaboration with Calvin Klein is on track. This controversy is merely a moment that illustrates how the modern industry works, how fans influence public perception, and how labels act quickly to maintain balance. Ultimately, one thing cannot be ignored: the K-pop world is always full of drama, speculation, and surprises. But with a critical approach and understanding the context, we can differentiate between inflated rumors and actual facts. Jungkook remains a global icon, HYBE continues as his protector, and Calvin Klein asserts its position in the international market. All parties act with clear objectives, and ARMY can rest assured that their favorite artist remains safe, professional, and focused on achievements.